Hey guys, Blended Everything here, and today, you can see that light, can't you? Yes, you can. And today, we're going to be discussing my thoughts on the new GoPro Hero 9. So this is a new GoPro, obviously. It's the almost October range of year, and at that period in time, GoPro comes out with their newest GoPro. Let me give you a quick rundown. I buy GoPro stuff, starting with the first Hero that didn't come out of its case, and a huge design flaw was the fact that these little prongs on the bottom here, they would snap, and then you'd have a camera stuck inside of a box that it physically doesn't come out of, and the box would break. So yeah, that was the first GoPro I ever owned. Long time ago. Fast forward a little bit, I got the Hero 4, and this one was the last GoPro that they made that needed a case. Then, moving on from that, I bought a GoPro Hero 5, 6, 7, and then it stopped. I actually gave away the other two, the 5 and the 6. This is the 7. And the 7 is the last GoPro I bought. And why is that? Two 360 cameras from GoPro. One, their old Fusion 360, and then their new GoPro Max. GoPro is a great company, and that's not why I switched from DJI to DJI. The reason I stopped buying them was in this camera. It was a problem that it had with a wobble in the SD card, and it was such a subtle wobble that you wouldn't notice it in any of the videos, and it wouldn't actually break the video. The problem was when you were trying to export the video from processing it, and then it would make it impossible for Final Cut Pro to render a single frame. And then you'd have to go back into your video and you'd have to cut out like 5 or 10 of these little frames that didn't have any data in them because the GoPro had a loose SD card. Now, whether or not that was a design flaw in just this GoPro, I don't know. I don't really care, because the fact is I got something different that's lasted me just as long, and it's so much better in my opinion. Why wouldn't I buy the Hero 9? It's got better specs than the Osmo Action. They did do something in this camera that is the reason I'm making this video. And it's got nothing to do with the video recording capabilities. It's solely because of the lenses. Now, they introduced this brand new feature of removable lenses. Now, that's not a new feature. If you really work at it for long enough, and you just pull and you twist, you can get these lenses off too. They come off pretty easily. They're shatterable. That's the reason they come off, because you need to replace them every once in a while. Now, that's, you know, whatever, mediocre. But what they did with the new one is they made it so that you can use the video recording capabilities at different fields of view. And this is where it starts to get interesting. I am not 100% sure of where this is going, but if you had to guess, you could begin to see an arsenal of action camera lenses coming out. Now, you really only need 2 lenses for an action camera shot, at least for the majority of any shot you're actually trying to take. But they really include 2 things. Fairly cropped in field of view, like this one, or a very, very wide field of view, a little more like this one. And the problem with the previous versions of the GoPro, like this one, and any other action camera for that matter, is the fact that to change those fields of views, you also had to change a video setting. So, I don't 100% know the specs on the new GoPro, but it's kind of irrelevant actually for this video. The fact is, you can't use the maximum resolution at every single type of field of view. And there's a reason for that. Some field of views have to electronically or optically crop in. And that is a different thing than physically. Physically zoom into your subject. Physically move two pieces of glass away from one another to make your subject zoomed in more. That's different than just cropping in your video. Now, the problem is with cropping in your video is you get really bad resolution. With worse resolution, you end up being able to see more noise, and if you haven't noticed, these sensors are not big on these action cameras. They're actually quite small. Even the newest one has 20 megapixels, I believe, at its maximum. This camera, for example, has 47, I think. Now, to be honest, my previous camera, which is not much worse than this one, had about 24, and that's a pretty good number. It's getting up there for sure. But then again, still not the reason I'm making this video. The reason I'm making this video is because you can use that maximum resolution at different fields of view. Now, like you can see how big this sensor is. It's not huge. That's obviously not the sensor, but it's the inside of the camera, or closer into the lens. But anyway, changing out the lenses is a big deal, and it's something that could really advance the future of action cameras, because of the fact that every time I or anybody else has to shoot or wants to shoot an action video, they have to take a huge DSLR camera into the backcountry, possibly on skis, seriously endanger the life of a $6,000 camera rig or whatever you got going on, and put some serious money on the line to get some really good shots. Now, what GoPro is doing with these cameras makes it so that one day that might not have to be the case. One day you might be able to take something like this size and just swap out these lenses and put on a 15 to 35 or something like that, and you can change it over here, or maybe even change it digitally. I don't know. When I say digitally change something that physically moves something in the lens itself, not digitally cropping it. Point I'm making is that even though this camera is not one that I'm probably going to get, when I say probably, I do mean probably. If my Osmo Action breaks, I'm gonna get the new GoPro. I really doubt my Osmo Action's gonna break. It's been holding up pretty good, but if it does, that's where I'm going next. But the reason this GoPro is such a big deal is because of the advances that it's pushing on its competitors and its business itself. It's giving higher benchmarks and different benchmarks in general for the business to adapt to. Like, for example, they're already putting 5K video into a little camera this size. You're really not gonna end up finding a whole lot more than that. You're gonna start to run into overheating issues and huge problems with being able to store things. Obviously, you can get a terabyte micro SD card now, but you can run into pretty big issues when you're shooting in extremely high resolution. And in order to use some of those more cropped in modes of field of view, you have to be shooting in really high resolution just to be getting an average resolution out of your picture. So the future that GoPro is taking, the direction that GoPro is taking currently is going to lead the future into a place that is going to be very beneficial to the average filmmaker and average filmmaker or hobbyist. Probably not professional. Chances are it's gonna be a long time before something as good as a DSLR and as modular as a DSLR comes out that is smaller than a DSLR itself. Yeah, that's basically it for this video. If you liked it, please give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, and also please share with your friends, because you know, sharing is caring.